So now that Joe Rogan has officially left YouTube, I wanted to give a few alternatives to his programming that you may like, that I know I kind of put in the same category as Joe Rogan. So let's get into a few alternatives that I enjoy to Joe Rogan. So the first one that I enjoy that's on the political realm of things is the Tim Poole podcast called Timcast IRL. Tim Poole is a journalist who became, or mostly a fact checker, but he became famous online when he was covering, and not online, but in mainstream media. He had a job at mainstream media, covering the Occupy Wall Street movement in the 2010s, and now he does his own thing. You can find videos on why he went on his own way, but I think I just found him actually pretty recently, and I really like what he does. He seems pretty fair, pretty even-keeled. He's actually not aligned with my personal political views for the most part, but I still respect what he does, and I really like what he does because he shines a light on things that mainstream media gets wrong or twists and kind of takes the truth and bends it whatever way they want. And so he's a really good resource to check into to kind of get a more well-rounded perspective on things, and he's definitely a good alternative to Joe Rogan. He's actually been on the Joe Rogan Experience before, and so he kind of has that similar vibe, and I think he's really trying to push for kind of not to be the replacement of Joe Rogan, but really fill some of the void that Joe has left. And along those same lines is the publication or the publisher, the media site or the media company called The Hill has a daily weekday morning show called Rising, and it's hosted by Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty, and they are supposed to represent on the show the populist left and the populist right, meaning like the Bernie left and the Trump Republican right that's really emerging right now out of everything as the future of politics, the future of our country. And so I think it's a really good dynamic on that show. And coincidentally, they've actually been featured on Joe Rogan. I actually found both these shows before I realized that they had done episodes on Joe Rogan. And one actually, Crystal and Sagar actually did theirs pretty recently. So that's really cool. But if you're looking for alternatives to the Joe Rogan programming, as far as politically goes, I think those are really good options. Of course, what's very interesting about Joe Rogan is that I only really watch his show for political figures that I like, or like kind of cultural figures that I like, and some of the comedians that are on that I've encountered here and there or watched specials on. I really like watching them on there because it's a more relaxed environment, not scripted, kind of just a behind the scenes look at some of the figures that you see very scripted and very put together in a different way. Like comedians on stage, usually once you see their special, it's timed perfectly. They've cut all the fat. It's just jokes, and you get a glimpse of who they are really, but it's usually wrapped in kind of a joke, or I guess the word would be hyperbolic, more of like a hyperbole type thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get what I'm saying. It's more exaggerated than what they are as on like a podcast where they're just having a conversation with Joe Rogan, which I think that's what's cool about his podcast and why it's taken off. It's long form interviews that are relaxed, not so blah 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 scripted and superficial, whatever. So I think those are the two, in my opinion, best alternatives to Joe Rogan if you're looking for politics. And then of course there's so many comedian podcasts, just comedy podcasts throughout. Just look up your favorite comedian and they probably have a podcast at this point, which I think is cool. It's hard to watch all of them because they put out so much content, like time-wise. So look up your favorite comedian and do that. As far as the UFC thing goes, there's one called, I think, The Fighter and the Kid, but I don't think it's actually about UFC. There's probably tons you can find. Of course, Joe's going to be on Spotify, but there's already been some controversy around his Spotify deal, but I'll just leave it at that. That could be covered another time when more news comes out about that. But hopefully those are good recommendations. Let me know if you actually go to those two channels if you haven't seen them before. And let me know what you think. If you've watched Joe Rogan before and you turn to those, was it a good recommendation, or am I completely off base as far as my comparison? Let me know. And if you haven't already, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you do, because I put out a new video every single day. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Bye-bye.